So I'm in college. I attend the University of Mary Washington. I haven't heard of it either, but the weirdest part of being a student for me this past year was trying to be a student and a comedian, because I kept going out of town for shows, but my roommate and I didn't communicate well, so I just kept telling him that I was leaving on business. So as far as he was concerned, I was either a drug dealer or Batman. And I had to take the train to most of my shows, so I actually dealt with just as many junkies and criminals as either of those professions would entail. But I'm not the most cheerful person. Some of my friends liken me to a tragically depressed clown, but I don't think I've done the proper legwork for that. To be a clown, you have to go to a college, learn how to juggle. It's pretty serious. I'm more of a tragically depressed mascot for a mediocre frisbee team. I thought I was experiencing self-acceptance once, but it turns out it was just my neighbors playing the Garden State soundtrack. And I've tried to find religion as a means of solace, but I don't like going to church. If I want to be in a room full of people who think I'm going to hell, I'll just wait for Thanksgiving. I even tried using medication, and the thing with medication is that it tastes really bitter, which bothered me until I realized that the notion of it like a sweet candied antidepressant is incredibly disturbing. Can you imagine having Prozac that tastes like Skittles or gummy bears? That seems strangely akin to consuming heroin through a silly straw. But I will say that academically, college is way more fulfilling than high school, because I took some classes on Shakespeare when I was in high school, and the teacher would always have the class read the plays out loud, so they could be experienced as Shakespeare intended, to be read by a bunch of kids with lisps and learning disabilities. I was into a lot of stand-up long before I ever thought I'd do it, but I was listening to a Patton Oswalt routine one day, and I laughed so hard my ribs hurt, and it was the first time the idea of being a comedian seriously penetrated my mind, and ever since then I've always really wanted it. Comedy is a good opportunity to say the things which remain unsaid in certain social situations, the things that I'm thinking to myself when I'm the fly on the wall at a given party. It's social commentary, which I think is the aim of a lot of comedians, so I don't see myself as too distinct in that regard. I always found I was a good writer with reports and stuff, but I've learned there's also a place for that in comedy. So I was the class clown as much as I was a good writer in high school, and I guess comedy allows me to merge the two, and that's the best thing of all. Yeah, the dating scene is hard in college. I kept going to parties because I wanted to meet someone, but there's a certain point where you realize that going to the basement of an abandoned starter home to play beer pong isn't exactly eHarmony. And I tried using a chat room for sex once, which was a little odd because the topic of the chat room was scuba diving interest. I get my setups from my diary and my punchlines from my arrest record. And I've heard it said that if you do things you love, you'll meet people you love, but I'm not sure that applies to my hobby of diagnosing historical figures with erectile dysfunction. I've met 3 people doing that, and I did not love any of them. But being single is particularly hard because I'm into bondage. Just bear with me. And I can barely get myself to study. How can I be expected to properly discipline myself? I'm gonna wrap this up, but I take solace in the fact that I'm gonna be nostalgic for this time in my life before long. 5 years from now, I'm not gonna remember getting a bad grade or my prostitute's wig falling off. I'm gonna remember how hard I worked and how her wig really just tilted to the side. I am what is referred to as an optimist or a wig have fun kind of guy. Thank you very much, Cinema Cafe.
What's going on? I just proposed to somebody and they turned me down. Yeah, I know, right? Everybody was like, yeah. No, got turned down, man. You know they approved gay marriage recently and whatnot. So I asked my roommate, let's do this, man. Let's get married. And he reared back to try to punch me. And I was like, wait, let me explain. Look, we share all the bills, we hang out all the time, and we only have sex with each other. We already married, man. Let's just make it official. We need the tax breaks, man. We need the tax breaks. It's a down economy. He told me no, though. He told me he was rebuilding his credit, so he didn't want to assume my debt. So I was like, whatever. Yeah, I was thinking about my stepdad the other day, man. It was a cool dude. He didn't contribute to the house or nothing like that, but he didn't beat us either, so he was cool with me. And he went to jail a couple years ago for robbing a bank or whatnot. But he's out now, you know. He turned his life around. He's a preacher now. Yep, he's preaching now. He learned how to rob people in a new way, you know what I mean? Smart dude, man. I got a raggedy car, man. Like, why you? Oh, somebody here that seen my raggedy car, they laugh. Yeah, it's hideous, man. Like when girls see my car, they see their dad naked from the waist down. Like, it's so unattractive, man. I can't pull nothing in my car, man. I'm trying to get a better job so I get a new car, you know. It ain't been working. There's a lot of cool movies out. We in a nice theater now. I've been wanting to see some of these good movies that's out. But I can't watch scary movies. I have a problem with them, man. Like they influence me so much. I guess I'm a punk, you know. I don't like static on my TV. I don't like riding behind like log trucks. I'm afraid of all of the white kids with black hair. I am. And for real, it's the truth, man. I got a problem with sad movies too, man. Well, just really the sad parts of movies. I don't like it when they throw that in on you. Like Boys in the Hood. That was sad at the end when Ricky got shot, man. It was sad. I still can't watch that. Marley and Me. That's sad when they had to put the dog down. And Terminator 2, when he was going down the molten lava with his thumb up. I get choked up every time I see that, man. Every time. Every time. Talking about sad stuff, you know, my grandma, she passed. Yeah. It was like 6 years ago, but it still feels like yesterday to me. And I just remember we was putting her in the ground, you know. I was just thinking like, man, grandma, she's gone. Sad. But that casket cost like $10,000. Shouldn't we like just flip her out of that thing and like take her back and get our money back, man? Like I said, it's a down economy. We need the money. We're trying to get a new car. But look, that's my time. Thank y'all so much. All right.
As we're here tonight with Dan Ellison, the educated redneck, the weekly host of the show here at Cinema Cafe. Dan, how long have you been hosting the show?
It's been almost 4 years now. We've had a show running here. I took it over almost 4 years ago. It's really hard. It's hard to remember because I have no measurement of time in my industry. Everybody thinks that you just put a room and everybody comes out and you do comedy. Comedy is one of those industries that everybody thinks they can do it, but when you actually start doing it, you find out there's a lot more in it than you thought. And comics need guidance, you need control over the room, you need a stage monitor. It's just like karaoke. If you go down to karaoke, they let anybody sing. And it'd be a much better karaoke night if they'd only let the good people sing. That's what we do here. We let the good comics on, you earn your spot, we allow new people to start, they grow here, they show potential, they get back on the stage.
Thank you, everybody. So we've been talking about dating a lot tonight, and I wanted to give you guys a little free dating advice. Does anyone here do online dating? Liars. Well, I highly recommend it. It's great. It's a lot more effective than singles ads. So I'm gonna give you a little free advice. I did OkCupid. I was very successful. But here's the thing: if you're on OkCupid and you're like a straight female, like I am, there are like 10 available males. There are 10 males on OkCupid for every female. And I just did not like those odds. So, well, all right. So I really wanted to set myself apart. Here's what I'm going to do. So I took the questions from the OkCupid profile, and I set it all to music. My lovely assistant. You're going to go ahead and press play. CB Wilkins, everybody. Wilkins, everybody. Okay, so my self-summary. I'm a 26-year-old who lives with her mother, who copes with crushing neuroses by making myself the center of attention and seeking validation from others. Just kidding, I'm a comedian. What am I doing with my life? Living it, winky face. And I work at Subway. First thing people notice about me, well, not to brag, but a lot of people tell me I look like if you took Zooey Deschanel and Aubrey Plaza, and then Zooey Deschanel smothered Aubrey Plaza in cheese and ate her. Yeah. All right, and what am I looking for? Somebody special. Me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue. Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven above and closer to you. Closer to you. All right, 6 things I can't live without. Oxygen? LOL. Just kidding. For real, though, my family, my girls, Instagram, my smartphone, or some way to keep in constant contact with my ex-boyfriend. 12 uninterrupted hours of sleep every night, and yogurt-covered pretzels. They're like crack. Also crack. My favorite books, TV, movies, and music. Well, that's easy. The first 3 are all Sex and the City. And as for music, I like some bands. They're a little obscure. Maybe you've heard of them. Animal Collective, Arcade Fire, Avett Brothers, Beach Boys, Beastie Boys, Bell and Sebastian. Take me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue. Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven above and closer to you. Closer to you. Weezer, the White Stripes, Wilco, the Yeah, Frank Zappa, and the Zombies. Okay, see here. On a typical Friday night, well, there's no typical Friday night for me. I might be at home, relaxing in my PJs, watching Pride and Prejudice, you know, or like, I could be at home, you know, like in my sweatpants, watching Runaway Bride, or, you know, it might be like a Law & Order SVU marathon or something. All right, this is the last question. Okay, I spent a lot of time thinking about my relationship with my father. Cowboy, take me away. Everybody, fly this girl as high as you can into, nobody? Blue. Set me free, oh, I pray. Lloyd Dobler, everybody. Thank you. I took a class, which I loved. I took the class at the Muse, the stand-up comedy class, and I think I brought it up casually in conversation one day, and the teacher insisted that I use music in my bit, and he said that would set me apart and it would be a really, really good idea. And at first, my idea of like a musical comedian is, I don't know, I wasn't like thrilled, but I decided to try to work it in like a really irreverently as possible. And the banjo is already silly, so it wasn't too much of a stretch. So I use a banjo and a karaoke track to try to be as silly as possible, I guess. I love online dating, and I really do recommend it to everybody. I have a boyfriend now, but if anyone's ever used OkCupid, it doesn't take long to start recognizing these trends and just these obnoxious things people do. Like I make a joke. One of the questions is, what can't you live without? And invariably everyone writes, oh, water. And so I was just trying to play on those conventions, those tired things that people put on their dating profiles. And I love talking about dating, and online dating is it's so weird, but it's also so common that I just think it's fun to talk about.
I don't know about you guys, but I am doing swell. Living the American dream, smoking pot out of a Mountain Dew bottle in my parents' house. Yeah, same thing I was doing 10 years ago. My life is sad. It's really sad. I drive a 94 Geo Metro. That's not a joke, and yet you're laughing at it. It's the sad reality. My car is a great representation of the choices I've made in my life thus far. It's most of the paint's coming off. There's a spare tire. It's been on it for way too long. It was supposed to be a quick fix, and now it's become a permanent solution. And there's a big empty spot of paint where a company logo used to be because, like me, this car used to have a job. Can't really do much with that kind of car, though. Like, I see it's not really fair that I can't hit on women from a vehicle. It's partially because my driver's side window no longer rolls down. But it's not really fair because we live in this Navy town. Like, there's all these other guys driving around nicer cars than me. It's not fair. You got, like, your country boy. He's got this enormous truck. It's way too big. Makes my little car scared just looking at it. Gonna drive next to you in a thunderstorm. Check your blind spots, please. He sees a girl he likes on the side of the road. He revs his engine up real loud. Just, you can't even hear anything. There's no more noise. It's like jet noise, but in the car lane. And he looks at the girl just one time, you know? And then he speeds off at like 80 miles an hour through a school zone. Because somehow, putting more distance between you and the woman is an effective way of hitting on her. You got the real gangster guys, though, driving like a nice Lexus. The booming system in there, can't compete with that. They see the girl they like on the side of the road, what do? They follow her at 1 mile an hour. And they yell at her the entire time. Yo, girl! Hey! Hey! I know she hear me. Hey! Where you going? I'm gonna figure it out. You couldn't tell I make terrible choices in my life. I'm 25 years old, and I just now figured out that cheating on your girlfriend is not an effective way of maintaining a relationship. I'm 25 years old, and I just figured this out. And I'm single. Ladies. It was a big breakup fight. I asked my dad for advice. I never really asked my dad for advice on anything. And I asked him, what do I do? How do I fix it? He's like, well, what happened? It's like, well, she went through my phone. And he goes, oh, yeah, you can't let them do that. That was his advice. And then I look at my phone, see, I enter my first password, and then you try to go to messages, need a second password to get in there. I'm like, that's great, Dad. My dad is giving me advice on how to cheat on my girlfriend. This is a man who's married to my mother. I wonder where my emotional problems in relationships stem from now.
Josh is talking about driving a blue Geo Metro. Fun fact, ever since I've known Josh drove a blue Geo Metro, every time I'm driving down the road and I see a blue Geo Metro, it's always Josh. I dream of a day, always Josh. I dream of a day when I can get on an airplane and nobody will stare at me. I dream of a day when you put on your $300 suit, shave, and go to an interview, and you're like, I'm going to get this job, and then you see me walk in a thrift store suit, and you're like, damn, I'm not going to get this job. That day, and you'll be like, wow, I never owned a $300 suit. Do you? Cool. I want to try something, and I want you to join in. I'm dreaming of a day of a revolution. I want to say Viva La Barba, and then I want you to say it with me after I say it. Can we do this? Viva La Barba. Viva La Barba! This is getting creepy. Viva La Barba! Now, if I go home and shave and come back next week, will you feel disappointed in me? Shut up. Knock, knock. Would you really answer the door for someone who looked like me? Unless you think I'm like the king of Sparta. You know? But then you look at the rest of me, and then you're like, no, he would have been totally thrown off the side of the mountain. I have asthma. This is Sparta! Viva La Barba! It went better than I thought it would. It's always a good crowd at Comedy at the Cafe. We have a lot of regulars who show up, and they're really good people. It's a good, fun time. They started to do the improv show, and the improv show has really helped me open up more, get a little more loud, and yeah, it's something I do think I'm going to start opening up more. I'm starting to try to make who I am every day to be more on stage than just some parts of it. I work for insurance. It's my day job. I hate it. I get to be on a phone though, and I get to hear stupid stuff. Like people tell me about what happens while they're driving their cars, driving down the road, and a pterodactyl hit your car. And I have a mute button, mute. Ha, guys, this guy thinks prehistoric animals are flying around still. Unmute. Pterodactyls are not covered on your policy. They're extinct. Sorry. And I hear things that drive me crazy, that they're telling me that they're driving down the road, and then this Honda Accord comes out of nowhere and hits them. And I'm like, out of nowhere, you say, right? Was it a left or a right out of nowhere? Mute. Hey, this guy thinks that nowhere is a city. I don't know. Unmute. You told me they were driving a Honda Accord, but you're now describing a DeLorean. Was Michael J. Fox driving, and was he shaken up at the scene? Hey. It's okay. Him and I go way, way, way back to the future. My name's Brett Shriver, Cinema Cafe. Have a good evening.
You guys having some drinks? Yeah, you're not having enough. I know you're not having enough because we're in Virginia Beach. And our next door neighbor, Norvick, second drunkest city in America. That's one reaction. Second drunkest city, you guys. Okay? All the street signs in Norvick are blurry. Okay? Second drunk. Norvick beat Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee's baseball team is named the Brewers. Their logo is a beer mug, all right? And their mascot lives in a keg. Norvick is more drunk than that place. Okay? The city council meetings, Norvick is just a bunch of guys like, hey, man, I want you to know I've always really loved you, man. You're my best friend. Can I get a woo to get the motion to pass? Woo! Meeting adjourned. Tell you guys a little bit about me. I know I'm a big guy. I'm a little scary, but that's okay. Don't be afraid. I love hugs. Okay? I love hugs. And I give the best hugs, you guys. Okay? Yeah, a couple people know. There you go. I give the best. If there was an Olympic event for hugging, I'd win the gold every time. Okay? Even the Special Olympics, and those kids are great at hugging. I am better. It's the only gold I'd win that day, but that's the one I'd win. Better. I squeeze people really hard when I hug. I really like to just let you know it's there. Like I crack people's backs a lot when I give them a hug. I cured my one friend's scoliosis. He's 2 inches taller now. It's good. He plays power forward on our pickup basketball games now. It's great. It's good. I had a friend of mine who's trying to tell me, he's like, CB, man, I see you with these girls. You pick them up in the hair and you hug them and they're giggling and laughing. He's like, you got to use that to your advantage with the women, man. I was like, I don't know, what are you talking about? I'm not sketchy. I don't know what are you doing? He's like, nah, man, you pick up under the hair, you got him giggling, laughing, be like, girl, I'm not going to let you down until you give me those digits. And I was like, I think you're talking about kidnapping. I don't even hugging to my advantage. I feel like it backfire on me. Like I'd have like Lenny from Mice and Men and be like, I'm going to hug her and love her. Oh, God, she's dead. Oh, she's dead. She's dead and I still don't have a date. This is not... I do always wonder how many people know that's from Mice and Men and how many people think it's from that old Looney Tunes cartoon. I'll hug you either way. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I get to travel around a little bit and do this. I was in Florida recently. I was stopped at a rest stop, and I was walking up to the rest stop, and there was a sign that said, "Caution, venomous snakes in area." And I thought that's a really well-placed sign because now I don't need to go inside anymore. I've already gone, and I'm fine. Well, I was down there. I was having breakfast at this diner. It was very nice. My waitress Very sweet woman, sweet Southern lady, just way too excited about the meal. She was like, we got this one special. It's a big old bowl full of food. It's a skillet. It's so good, y'all. It's got mashed potatoes and bacon and gravy. Oh, my God, it's delicious. She puts her hand right on my shoulder. She goes, it's good for a big fella like you. It's like, I'm going to say something mean, but I'm going to whisper it. So by the time you realize what I said was mean, it's already rolling around inside your brain. Big fella like you. Big fella like you. Big old fat sumbitch trying to fill that sad side of your bacon and gravy. You ain't never used to be able to tell me. Can I freshen y'all's drinks? Okay. Thank you guys so much for having me out tonight. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, guys, that's our show. We hope you had a great time with us here at Cinema Cafe. Remember, every Thursday, 9 o'clock, stand-up comedy, improv, totally free show. These comics are great, and they do this for free each week. Come back and see them. Support live local stand-up comedy and improv. We'll see you again. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/openmiconTV, and also on Twitter @openmiconTV. All right, guys, my name is Channing Tyner. Great seeing you guys again. Have a good night.